So today I'm going to share with you the 3 essential casts you need when you're either Euro nymphing or when you're using a microleader. And I guarantee you, if you don't take these casts by heart, you're going to be losing a lot of fish in the stream. Other than that, let's get right into casting. Welcome back to Hack Me in the Fly. My name is Carson, and if you don't know me, I've been fly fishing for the past 10 plus years and including competitive fly fishing. So today I'm going to be showing you the 3 essential casts you're going to be needing when you go out there in the water, either when you're Euro nymphing or using a microleader. So let's set the foundation real quick on how I practice in my backyard for these techniques. So like today, I am not able to get on the water, but I still want to practice and get more better at my fly casting abilities. So the way I like to practice is to pretend that I am on the water. So I have my vest on today. So when I'm out casting, I'm used to this being in front of me. Also too, I have my net here. And just in case, if I want to practice netting fish, things like that, I might look a little crazy in the backyard, but I guarantee you it's worth the practice. So when I'm practicing in the backyard, I don't like to have all of my rods that I actually use on the stream, just in case if I break them, things like that. So I have actually a practice rod. This rod I got a long time ago, like 13, 12 years ago. And this rod has been a beginner rod for me when I got started, but now I just use it just to practice in the backyard. Also too, you don't need actually a Euro nymphing leader to practice casting. I just have this normal weighted forward fly line and some junkie fly at the end of it. So the first cast that we're going to be going over today, which is really essential, is the tuck cast. So when I started learning about fly fishing the tuck cast, as soon as I thought about it, I thought about Joe Humphreys. I've done a podcast with Joe Humphreys, so when I go check that out, I'll leave that up here in the description. I did that a long time ago, but I'm still learning so many things to this day on his actual casting process. But it has evolved a little bit because Euro nymphing has definitely gotten a lot better and a lot more sensitive when it comes to casting over the years. So the first thing I want to do is I want to back away from the camera real quick, is to extend the arm. Now I'm probably going to do a separate video. I just thought about it right now, is how should you handle your rod? Now, you're handling the rod, there's so many ways of doing it. But for right now, I'm gonna save that for another video. If you wanna see a video strictly on that, please leave it down in the description or in the comments. So what I'm gonna do here is that I am going to hold my rod just like this with my fingertip on top of the cork, not on the metal part. This is a little too high for me, but my hand has full support over that cork handle. So this is the way I like to hold my rod here. And what I'm gonna do first is that I am going to extend my arm just like so, just like that. So just remember, the first process here is to extend the arm. So when you do that, I see a lot of people on the stream, they cast and all scrunched up like this and they're casting out. So the problem here, when you're all tucked up like this, is that first of all, you want to have maximum length between you and the fish. But also too, when you're out casting, you don't want to be scrunched up like this because you're going to have less movement or less control over your fly rod. So the next step you want to do is to first extend the arm out, but also too, you don't want to be using your forearm when you're casting, because if you use your forearm, that's going to defeat the tuck cast. But also too, it took me a while to learn just to use the wrist when I cast, and I guarantee you, you're going to be using a lot less effort just to do this than moving your whole arm like that. So let's go through it together. We're going to extend our arm. We're going to only use our wrist. And when we cast, this is what I learned from Joe Humphreys, is when you cast, pretend that there's a wall right here. And that wall, you have a hammer and you have a nail in the wall. And what you're doing is that you're immediately stopping at that position. You're going to extend, cast with your wrist, and immediately stop. You don't want to go like this, because then you're going to totally lose control of your fly. There's going to be slack in your line and you're going to be missing a lot of fish. So that's basically it. That's the tuck cast right there. You want to extend the arm, use your wrist only, do not use your forearm or your arm, and just a simple cast like that. And that process, I just like to do that in the backyard. I don't even need to have any fly line out. I just extend, use the wrist, and just tap. Pretend that there's a wall right here, tap and you stop. And that's all you need to do to make the best tuck cast when you're nymphing. So that's one of my first casts that I love doing. That's my 80% of the time I'm using that cast, but there's so many more, and I'm gonna show you a couple more. So basically, I'm gonna be tuck casting most of the time. But if you're not catching any fish, or you know that that fly's not getting to that right depth, this is another cast you wanna keep in mind. So the next cast that we're gonna be learning is, there's so many names for it, but I like to call it the flick cast. Now I've seen a lot of videos on Euro-nymphers, just so many other fly fishers, and this casting technique has definitely helped me a lot. So this cast, I call it the flick cast. There's probably so many other names, I'm probably not saying it right, but this is the way I like to call it. And it is so essential when you're Euro-nymphing. It does not take any effort at all. So the first step you want to do is just lob your fly out there in the water. And by the time you get to the end of your drift, you're going to look up. You're going to see, okay, this is where I want to hit. You're just reading the water. Okay, I'm going to hit that riffle. I'm going to hit that fly right behind that rock. So the only thing that you're going to do is that you're going to make like a sweep, like a sway cast. So with all that pressure that water is pushing your fly downstream is going to help you propel it upstream. So the only thing you're going to do is to go like this. Just like that. It's just almost like a sway. So again, your fly is going to be downstream and you're just going to flick it up, just like this. Just like that. And then you want to immediately stop, just like the tuck cast almost. Right here, and then you're controlling your line right there at the beginning of your drift. So the flick cast is really interesting because the only thing you need to do is just that, contact with your fly, and it's such a deadly cast. I guarantee you're going to be catching a lot more fish that way. So that's the second cast for this video. Now I want to show you the best cast for last. So if you're out there, you're not catching anything on nymphs, you're not catching anything on dry flies, and then you pull out the streamer or heavy fly, this cast is the flip and pitch. So the flip and pitch, only thing that you're doing, it's like you're bass fishing. I guarantee if you're a bass fisherman, you know this cast. You're gonna hold your fly, and only thing that you're gonna do is almost like a bow and arrow cast like this. The only thing that you're gonna do is to flick it under like this, and then you begin your drift. And that's it. I'll show you that again. I'm gonna show this again. You hold your fly, you aim for your target that you wanna go, and this is a little bit more advanced. You just need to practice with it. And you just lift up your rod tip and then lay the fly right in the water. And it's so good when the fish are a little pressured, but I guarantee you, this cast, especially when you're using heavy flies, you're gonna be catching a lot of fish with that cast. All right, thank you everybody for watching. I really hope you enjoyed this video. Please leave it down in a comment below on what's your favorite cast. And if you have any other advice, please leave it down in the comments below, including any questions. Thank you everybody for watching. Till then, I see everybody next time. And be sure to subscribe and like to the video. And as always, stay fishy.